heretics. And the way Iranians describes heretics is because of the certain things that believe about Jesus and Jesus' personhood, and not necessarily who the head of the church is, right? Because according to that, may I finish?
Make a negative inference fallacy.
No, I'm not. You can correct me afterwards because I waited for you to correct you. Because if that's the case, James, who was the head of the Council of Jerusalem, had also major issues with Paul. If it's to do with authority and who is an authority and who's to follow, I mean, then we have issues there as well. I'm specifically talking about theology when I say heretics. That's the way I understood it.
Okay.
I believe that's how the early Christians understood it too.
That's great. So just because someone said something, you're now going to have to try and imply a negative inference. Then that's called a fallacious negative inference fallacy. So when you try to imply just because a positive statement about heretics has been made, it implies that there's no other inferences to be made, or the negative that this does not then include X. That's a fallacy.
No, we're going to have to speak human language. I
use human language, the language of logic. So
no, we don't want to do logic. I want to understand.
If we're not going to do logic, I'm going to step out.
We've been doing logic the entire time.
We always have to do logic. For truth, there must be logic.
We've been doing logic the entire time. What I'm saying is, you don't have to list a formula here. Tell me exactly where did the negative inference.
Yeah, so you're trying to imply because it only talks about heretics in a theological way, it does not then include those who do not follow the church.
No, I'm saying if a church has a doctrine, then because what I want to establish is that you are saying, because I said, look, there's many different Christian denominations, and there's different ways on how they understand the book, the very same book. Yeah. Now I understand that you're convinced, and you have conviction by your thing, but it does not mean that. Perhaps, and that doesn't mean that you now are going to exclude every single one of them.
Why?
Because then that means you exclude him. He's not Catholic.
He needs to come home to Rome.
Yeah. I mean, you're a Christian yourself. You're not Catholic.
Just to make him happy.
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah. You, my brother, come home to Rome. Jesus loves you. There you go. You can be happy now. You can be happy now. There you go.
What I want to illustrate, what I'm trying to display is that there is differences on how to understand Scripture, and there's always going to be. The same applies to Islam, correct?
We're going towards it.
Huh?
What's the point we're actually going towards?
No, the point I was trying to make was that you early on were saying that I don't even know, because you see this happens when we talk. But there was a point I was trying to make. But yeah, anyway.
I don't know where I don't know exactly where we're going.
No, but it's just I find it fascinating that, because obviously the intelligence that you have is you're very quick. I don't know. Have you been studying Christianity prior to this?
Man.
You have. Oh, so it was an ongoing study.
I've been around Christians for a long time.
So whilst you were Muslim, you were still studying Christianity as well. Okay, fair enough. Well,
The problem was for me is the Quran makes historical claims, but it's chained to those historical people. It's mashhul.
Yeah.
No one knows how Muhammad is connected to Jesus. No one knows how Muhammad is connected to Moses. But the chain of prophets is in the Bible, right? From Adam all the way through to generations of Quran. So the chain is there. But you guys chain to any of those people is mashhul, unknown. So what do we do in Islam when the chain is mashhul? We reject it. So the Quran, Muhammad is mashhul. We reject it.
But then you also have to reject Jesus.
No.
When Jesus in Jerusalem, when he in the Gospel of John, he's walking around Jerusalem. No one, the Pharisees don't know who he is. Hold on.
I didn't say no one knows.
No, but I will quote you.
I said his chain is unknown.
I will quote a verse.
Jesus' chain is not unknown.
I will quote a verse. Where they question him. And they asked him, they say, are you of Moses in the Gospel of John? Is this what Moses brought forth? Meaning, they weren't sure who he was, but the category to define whether he was truthful was the teaching that he was bringing, right? And this is why Jesus says in the Bible, I have not come to
abolish the law.
Yes, why is he saying that? Because he has to make. He's proven his point.
Yeah, but the point.
So it doesn't mean that the lineage proves anything.
You're not getting it. Once again, Adam through to Jesus. Chains in the Bible. All these people and the connection through to each other. Now Muhammad comes out of nowhere with the majhul.
No, he doesn't.
Unknown claim.
He doesn't. He's an Ishmaelite.
Says who? Mutawatir hadith. Do you have any historical evidence other than that?
Yes, historically the Arabs have always been known to be Ishmaelites.
So they claim.
No, it's not claim. It's known. It's known. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. When Ismail and Hagar go to Quran.
Prove to me Muhammad is from that lineage.
My brother, it's a known thing.
No, I don't care.
It's not about it's not about that. It's not about that. No, it's not about that. It's not about that. It's about it's axiomatic. It's axiomatic, my bro. It's axiomatic. Of course, it's axiomatic. The same way the Jewish, it is axiomatic. The same way Jewish people know that they come from Jacob.
They have the ancestry.
Yeah. Based upon, according to what? Where are the outside sources?
Oh, well, you can get multiple Jewish sources.
Jewish sources, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're in the same boat.
The point is, I'm not saying, but I'm not talking about Jewish sources. I'm not saying why someone. I'm not saying that. I'm saying to you, how do you actually know that's true?
I told you because historically, the way Jewish people and the Arabs have understood each other and the text and they've lived together, they have known to be of the same lineage till this day.
So that's what people say. Can you demonstrate?
What do you mean demonstrate? I've demonstrated through his historical
demonstration.
This is.
No,
listen. The demonstration that you're looking for me, I'm sure that you can't provide yourself. Okay?
What do I need to provide?
The demonstration, you're saying the lineage is written in the book. It's
Matthew chapter 1.
Yeah, but this is a secular argument. You're arguing back to the book that you believe in.
Argue positively for the book. That's fine.
No, I'm saying the same way.
Let me argue
the same way. It is secular. The same way it might argue.
I'm making it not secular. I'll argue for it. Isaiah 48 and 53 is the most clear prophecy of the coming of the Messiah. What did it say in Isaiah 53? And by your bruises we shall be healed. And the punishment that made us whole fell upon him. And if he gives his life as a payment for sin, he will justify many. So this is the prophecy 800 years before Christ about his future. Found in the Dead Sea Scrolls 400 years before Christ. So this serves as our basis of evidence for the book being from God, because only God can make such a prophecy. So now it's no longer circular. I've given you a logical argument for
it is circular.
Book. No, it's not.
Because the Christians, the early Christians, weren't some different sect or whatever. They believed.
They were Catholic.
No, the early Christians were Jews from Jerusalem. Yeah, they were Jews from Jerusalem.
And in Acts, they first called Christians in Antioch.
Okay, yeah. So the early, especially the Christians or the early Christians that were with Jesus, and that generation that comes after with Jesus, they had books prior. They had books and laws prior to Jesus. So therefore, the Bible, when it's compiled as an entire document, right? So therefore, it is a circular argument because you're going back to the very same document. No. So when I say to you, what do you mean no?
No. I don't know if you've studied logic, but when someone offers a positive argument from the text that gives it some truth value, that it made a prophecy that is true, that validates something in the book as true, and serves as
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I'm very no. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. That's fine. May I just cause right? Okay, that doesn't make sense to me because all I'm saying to you is very simple for the viewers watching. Very simple. I am saying this brother is saying to me, where's the proof? I say the proof of Muhammad being an Ishmaelite is that it's oral tradition. This is something that's passed down so much that even outsiders who are not part of the Ishmaelite tribes know that this tribe is descending of Ismail. So the other thing is this, what I'm saying to him is that now if you were to provide proof for Jesus' lineage, you will find it within the Bible. Therefore, if you can't provide, because he's asking for proof, I'm saying, well, the same way you're finding the evidence for Jesus' lineage in the book, I'm saying I'm finding the evidence for the Prophet Muhammad's lineage within our traditions.
It's not in your Quran, though.
But why is the Quran? Why does it have to be in the Quran? Because
I didn't say it did. I said it's
No, but that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not comparing the Quran to the Bible either. I'm just saying, in terms of tradition and how tradition is preserved,
our tradition comes out of a clear context.
What do you mean?
The Jewish religion emerges from a clear, consistent development of revelation.
No. There's gaps.
Your religion is mashhul.
There's gaps between Jesus and Moses. What are you talking about?
Dude, there's no gaps. Wait. Do you think the Bible stops at the Torah and then we just get to the Gospel?
No, I'm saying no. You look,
bro.
Okay, let me finish. Have patience.
Yeah.
Let's have this conversation. I'm saying you said context, right? You said context. You said out of context. I am talking out of context.
Thank you, brother.
I'm talking about the Jerusalem context.
Yeah.
The Jerusalem criteria.
What criteria?
it's a thing in history where they look at Jesus' language and the way Jesus lived, and if you can afford me some respect.
Sorry, that's my boy,
yeah,
innit?
yeah. So you said context.
Yeah.
I'm saying within the context of Jesus and within his lifetime,
Yeah.
there is no direct link that the people are making with Jesus and the lineage of the prophets.
Okay, that's cool. Now, if I know...
No, hold on. Before you said it's cool, do you acknowledge that?
Yeah,
so
I'm acknowledging
that's
it.
where the gap is. That's the gap that I'm talking about,
There's
contextually.
There's not a gap. Okay, you're just telling me...
I'm not talking about the Bible.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So you're telling me just because these people don't connect it... Okay, if I see you...
They're the children of Israel.
Hold on.
It's not just people.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. If I know you, and I don't know your mother,
Yeah.
and I see your mother and I don't connect you to, does that mean anything about the truth of the proposition?
No, this is bad. It's a false comparison. False comparison.
It's not.
It's false comparison.
It's not.
The example that I'm saying is that I am part of a tribe, okay, and the tribe has a leader,
Yeah.
and that leader, before him there was other people, and other people, like it goes back. There's a lineage. Now, an outsider comes from the tribe. We don't know who this person is, but claims to be from the same lineage.
Yeah.
So that's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, so it's not that it's because those particular people don't know who he is, it means he's not from that tribe?
No,
According
but
to you, because remember your argument's going to cut yourself.
Yeah.
Even according to your belief, where is Jesus from?
He's from the Israelites.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So even your tradition can admit it. Thank you.
No, but what I'm saying is the reason why I believe that is the reason why I believe that the Prophet Muhammad is from the Ishmaelites.
Wait, read that. That's why the argument's not circular.
What?
Because if you accuse my argument of being circular, this is not
No,
circular.
what I'm saying is I'm not talking about the prophecy. I'm not talking that. I'm saying, if I'm saying, for example, right, my dad owns whatever. My dad owns this plot of land, yeah, and the court specifically asked for a corroborating evidence, right? Corroborating evidence that is outside of what I can provide. Meaning, my dad wrote something on a paper saying this land belongs to me, yeah. But I need to register from like the council to corroborate what he's saying. That's what I'm saying. This.
Wait, so let me get it straight. His argument is the Old Testament makes specific prophecies about the New.
Yeah.
Couldn't be explained outside of divine revelation.
But you can't separate the two. You can't separate the Old Testament. You can't separate the Old Testament and the New Testament.
Why? You have manuscripts of the Old Testament.
No, but you have literally the book there within you. So you're just inheriting a heritage that already exists, and then you're infusing yourself in there and
Because
saying,
if the Old Testament comes before the New, right, and let's say the Old Testament said in 1,000 years a man is going to be crucified, die for the sins of many, and it makes very specific prophecy. Let's just say he's right about that, about the Old Testament.
no, but
If the Old Testament does say that, then it's not just it's one book.
but hold on. Hold on. One thing.
That's his argument, right?
Yeah, but hold on. One thing you seem to misunderstand is that when you look into the Old Testament and you read your Christian interpretation into it, that's a separate issue. Because if you go to Jewish people who are preserving this book, they're not going to read their interpretation of the things in the Bible. They're saying, hold on, they won't read.
Sanhedrin did believe that.
No, hold on. Hold on. We're in the 21st century right now. We are Christians. You're Christians. I'm Muslim. There's Jewish people. If they go to the Old Testament, and I've seen many debates here where Christians and Jews would debate about certain prophecies, and they would hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish. And they would say to Christians, "This is not what this means."
Okay.
Therefore, I'm saying to you that the book, you've compiled the book and you've inherited a tradition, and then you're reading into that tradition. So this is not to do about.
Okay, that's similar to if you were saying Muhammad is prophesied in Deuteronomy 18, and then
I didn't say that.
I'm just giving you a counter example. And then Ananda said, well, Christians and Muslims disagree about the interpretation, therefore he couldn't possibly be in there. That's not how that works. It's like we have to say, okay, whose interpretation is more parsimonious with what the text is saying?
But I'm sorry. This is.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to read any religious text and get any meaning from it.
Of course, you would get meaning from it. This is literally why in the 19th century, The idea of text, what's it called?
Textual criticism,
And what's the other one? Interpretation.
interpolation,
Exegesis, and what's the other one?
Hermeneutics.
Hermeneutics. This is precisely, mashallah, all of we go through all of them. Hermeneutics, right? The Germans come up with this idea of like, okay, how do we interpret this text? How do we understand this text? Because precisely with ancient text, there's always going to be different opinions and perspectives on things. So therefore, I'm saying from the Christian perspective, if we say it from the Christian perspective, it is a book that you're inheriting that is within the same tradition that you believe Jesus is from.
Yeah, but
Basically,
basically,
hold on, sorry.
It's not a separate text.
The reason why I don't understand your criticism, there's Messianic Jews. They read the Old Testament.
What is my
and they-
criticism?
Your criticism is saying, from what I
you guys
understood,
already talk
is
about
you basically saying, okay, when you're Christian, you read the Old Testament with a Christian lens, and
Yeah.
then you compare the Old Testament with the New Testament, and then you then say that the New Testament is a completion of the fulfillment of the Old Testament. But there's Messianic Jews, there's
Yeah.
people within
Yeah.
the Jewish tradition
Yeah.
that understand the Old Testament
Yeah.
to be compliant with the New Testament.
Yeah.
So what we say is, under the Christian interpretation, okay, our view, including the Messianic Jews,
Yeah.
is far more parsimonious
Yeah.
than the Jewish view.
Yeah.
And then we say, okay, then our view is correct.
Yeah.
There. But
Yeah.
you're giving criticisms on silence. You're not really.
Okay, so you and obviously it's a bit, but where's the evidence for it? I said it's within our tradition, it's within the text, it's within oral tradition. And then he said, and I asked him, where's your evidence for Jesus' lineage? He says it's within the text. I said, look, if that's the case, then we're both in the same boat, and that's the argument I
I
was
don't
making.
think it's some both, because your tradition
Yeah.
presupposes the pre-existence and the accuracy of our tradition.
No, this is
Our tradition
no,
doesn't
no.
presuppose the accuracy of yours.
No,
Our tradition does
no,
not
no.
rely
This,
on yours.
okay, this is a different argument. I'm just simply saying that circular argument here, meaning you're relying in order to prove something, relying on the text that you abide by. Okay, that's what secular argument is, right? You're relying on a text that is not outside of the evidence that you can provide, right? That's what you. So that's what we were arguing initially.
But the problem is,
Yeah.
if someone comes up to you and says, okay, you believe that Muhammad is a Ishmaelite,
Yeah.
then you give me the evidence for that.
Yeah.
And then you say, okay, how can you give me the evidence of your Jesus? I don't see.
No, I gave him evidence. I said, one, there's two.
That's not
yeah.
evidence, though, right?
What?
That's not evidence.
What do you mean?
If you say that Muhammad came from the Ishmaelites because of what Muhammad or the Ibns, or I don't know the Islamic theology,
Yeah.
but whatever the Islamic theologians
Yeah.
told you,
Yeah.
right?
No, but exactly. So now you understand each other. Then I say the exact same thing applies to Jesus.
It cannot apply.
And it does. Because everything that you know about Jesus and his lineage is within the text that you believe in. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, but what's the distinction between the Christians and the Jews?
There's no distinction. If you're speaking
What do
about
you
the
mean? There is a distinction.
if you're talking about the early Christians, because we're talking about Jesus, right?
Yes.
The early Christians were Jewish. They were abiding by the law. They kept Sabbath and did all of these things.
And when they took the genealogy from David
Yeah.
to explain Jesus' theology
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Gospel of Matthew,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They took from another religion,
Yeah.
from another tradition,
No, it was not another tradition.
the Jewish tradition.
It literally was not another tradition. This is why Jesus comes, because there's an accusation being made against Jesus.
Talking about the Old Testament.
No, I'm saying to you, look, there's an accusation being made against Jesus. Meaning, some of the Pharisees are perceiving Jesus as an outsider who has come to corrupt the law and the tradition. Therefore, Jesus says, look, I have not come to what?
Yeah, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean he was not Jewish.
No, I'm saying he is clearly seeing himself as part of the tradition already.
No, I'm not talking about.
There's no there is no separation.
Look,
There's no separation.
Jesus is a fulfillment
Yeah.
of the tradition.
Yeah.
Okay.
So therefore, there's no separation.
The definition of a tradition
Yeah.
is a transmission
Yeah.
of cultural laws
Yes, yeah.
and ceremonial
Yeah,
acts.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a transmission.
Yeah.
The Christian tradition is obviously different from the Jewish tradition.
Yeah, and
But
Moses
the Christian,
yeah.
the Christian moral law
Yeah.
is a fulfillment of the Jewish moral
Yeah,
law.
yeah.
That's the difference.
No,
so
I'm-
yes, it is a different
No, but
tradition.
hold on. We're talking about the Prophet Muhammad and his claim, and we're talking about Jesus of his claim. I'm not
so
talking
now
about post Paul. I'm not talking about what happened to the tradition.
What
So
I'm telling you,
yeah.
I'm telling you, is that we derive the genealogy of Jesus from a prior tradition, and that's what we got.
But how can it be a prior tradition if the very person who claims to be of the tradition affirms that he's part of the tradition? Also, the people who encounter him see him as a continuation of the tradition. Yeah.
It's a continuation.
Yeah, but a
of
continuation.
moral law.
No,
Of
not
the
just
moral
no.
law. Jews don't take
No,
Eucharist.
no, not just the moral law, as in who he is. I'm talking about who he is.
He is Jewish. I
Yeah.
understand.
So, and this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the lineage.
Here's the thing. Jews that do not believe in Messiah, Jews that do not believe in
that
the
interpretation.
Trinity or whatnot,
Those
right?
interpretations.
Understood that he's the Messiah, some of them, and
Yeah.
became Messianic Jews that started following his law.
Yeah, some of them.
So we don't depend on the Jews to explain to us our tradition. We already have.
You do, of course you do.
Listen, we don't depend on the Jews.
Yeah.
We don't depend on the Jews. What we have is a tradition.
Yeah.
Right? Our tradition does not depend on Judaism for its truth. Judaism is a religion predicated on the tradition.
Yeah.
Right? So now, because Christianity will still be Christianity without flipping.
No, but what you don't seem to understand is Christianity becomes.
Yeah,
in the
I
passage
agree.
of time, it becomes.
Look, listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Christianity is not contingent
Yeah.
on something external to it for its truth.
Of course, you
But your
quote.
religion is. That's
No,
the
but so
distinction.
is Christianity. Why are you quoting passages from the Old Testament then?
What
Why
do you
you?
mean?
No, but
We
why?
believe-
No, why? If you're saying it's not contingent up on something else, why don't you
Because-
just stick to the 66 books
what did he
of
say?
Paul?
What did he say before this? Before my statement? You said Christ is the fulfillment of the law. Yes.
Yeah.
You answered your
So
own
yeah,
question.
no, but then if he's a fulfillment of the law, in order to fulfill anything, there has to be something prior to it. So so the necessity
Yes.
is there.
Yes. Okay. And then guess what? Guess what? What's prior to it is what? The Jewish tradition, right? The
Yeah,
Jewish tradition,
yeah.
right? And what is there? An intermediate link between the Jewish tradition and the Christian tradition. When someone asks you, what is the evidence for the Muhammad and whatnot, they're asking for an intermediate link
Yeah, but there's-
between Christianity and Islam.
But there
You
isn't
cannot
any.
give that.
No, but if you're using that criteria, then
Yeah.
there isn't one for Jesus either. There's one for
That
Jesus.
doesn't make sense.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
You just said with your own mouth that
Yeah.
Jesus is the fulfillment of the law.
No, but when
unless you're a Jew.
no, but the reason why I'm like that because I'm a bit more tolerant and I understand history quite. The reason, let me finish.
Yeah, go on.
Like the reason why I say this is because I'm more tolerant and I'm a bit more elastic on the way I understand history. Okay, my understanding of history is slightly different. I don't have this cut-through approach to history because I know that's not how history works. Jesus Christ, for 30 years plus, is unknown, okay, to most of the people. And he comes into Jerusalem because Jerusalem is the center of the spirituality of the Jewish people, of the children of Israel. And he comes in as an unknown person. And the reason why he's unknown is because the direct link between him and Moses and whatever was in between isn't necessarily established. So Jesus has to establish himself, and this is why he has these miracles. The miracles are there to prove his claims.
Yeah.
So, therefore, on a clinical level, if you want to be very clinical, then you will have to say, well, if I look at Jesus' trajectory, he also doesn't have a direct link per se in that way, other than being Jewish. His way of convincing the children of Israel is in various ways. It's not just through lineage. It's through miracles. For some people, according to the Christian, it's the crucifixion, right? And various of things. So that's the point I'm trying to make. So there is also a gap if you want to be clinical then, you see? Because if you look at Jewish history in particular, you will find there are sometimes thousands of years of nothing until another prophet comes in. But they just uphold things via oral tradition.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You're forgetting one thing.
Yeah.
You're forgetting that when we're trying to look at historical evidence and the epistemic accuracy of things, we take into factor parsimony, right?
Yeah.
So
A parsimony?
Parsimony. So for example, let's say there's a dog here and a dog barks, you're not gonna think, okay, what if it was a cat that barked? What if it was a bird that barked?
Yeah.
You're gonna say it's probably a dog that barked because the dog is the one associated with barking normally.
Yeah.
typically.
Yeah.
Then you look and then you see it's a dog.
Yeah.
That's the principle of parsimony. That's the simplest explanation.
Yeah.
And the simplest explanation is most likely to be the right explanation. Jesus has tons and tons and tons of secular and Christian and Judaistic evidence of existing.
Yeah.
Your religion says he exists.
Yeah, I don't deny that at all.
He exists. How does he exist? The genealogical accounts and the historical accounts say he existed as a Jew in this area, crucified, whatnot.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. If someone comes to you, a Christian comes to you, what it asks is for a link. You're saying you cannot ask me for a link if you do not have a link to Jesus.
No, I'm not saying that.
But you're saying,
I'm not.
then what are you saying?
Yeah, I'm saying. Remember, I said the way I understand history is that the amalgamation of tradition and the way people pass down things. It's not always in a book. It's not always written down. Okay, it's not. This is not how we.
So where's the other ones?
Yeah.
Where's the oral tradition? Where's any of that? We're not just asking for the book.
Yeah.
Right. What we're saying is, okay, we have this whole parsimonious view where Jesus definitely existed.
Yeah.
Muhammad said he existed.
Yeah.
Christians say he existed. Messianic Jews and Jews say he existed. Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody has different interpretations.
Yeah.
Sunnis will say he didn't die. God
Yeah.
replaced.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. He definitely existed and he existed this way across all these various religions. And so we have a link. Nobody's gonna deny it. Nobody's gonna deny the link between them and the Jews because he was a Jew. That's a necessary link. That's like me. You're an African. Let's just say you're African, for example.
Yeah.
I'm Nigerian.
Yeah.
I'm Nigerian, and I'm here, and I preach to everybody, and then I die, and then people say, "Oh, how do you know he was this?" Bro, I'm Nigerian. I'm gonna have a link to Nigeria.
Of course, but just remember, there's a lot of I don't know if you know about this, but back in the day, there's a lot of Africans. They'll be like, "Oh, back home I'm a king," because in Congo or Nigeria, there's people.
But the thing is, the Africans still exist biologically and what do they call it? Anthropomorphically, the way that he says he exists. Jesus biologically, anthropomorphically existed as a Jewish man. But we're asking for the link of yours with all the rest, the way that we have a link with ours and all the rest. Is yours as parsimonious as the Christian one?
I believe so. We have in our tradition also a whole lineage of the Prophet Muhammad that goes all the way back to Ismail. We have it. The Arabs have it. They had it for hundreds of years.
Is there a link between that and the Jewish account?
What Ishmael, literally.
What do you call it? The Christian account, since you affirm that Jesus Christ was a Jew?
Well, we bypass the Christians in this regards, and we say the Jewish people, the Jewish people themselves, and the Muslims, for a very long time, knew this man knows about this. He's a bit older. For a very long time, knew that the Arabs of a particular stock are descendants of Ishmael. Now, just going back, I am more interested in contextualizing Jesus Christ, because I think this is the best way we can really have a good understanding on what happened to him and who he was. If you look at Jesus contextually in Jerusalem, despite being Jew, that was not enough to claim that he was within the lineage of David and Solomon and
It goes back to even Ishmael.
But what you said doesn't make sense because you know who Jacob is, right?
Yeah.
Jacob is Israel himself.
Yeah.
David is his descendant.
Yeah.
Necessarily, if you're a descendant of Jacob, you have to be a descendant of David.
Yeah.
On that line.
Yeah.
So if Jesus was a descendant of Jacob, if Jesus was Jew, he's going to be automatically a priori a descendant of Jacob in some kind.
Yeah.
That's what Jews are.
Yes, and I agree with you. And I'm saying Isaac had a brother. And Isaac's brother had descendants too. And those descendants have been known to be the Arabs.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who started the argument with you.
Yeah.
His argument was saying, how do you link that back to the flip to what's his name? Abraham or something.
No, so what he was saying is, he was saying to me, well, how do we know that the Prophet Muhammad is a descendant of Ismail? I said, well, it's within our tradition. Like, it's in this lineage. The Arab, it's known for hundreds of years. It's there when you look at it. Then outside of just the Arabs, because it's one thing if you claim it, then you go to other people, your cousins, and they say the exact same thing, and it's within the text as well. Jewish people lived in Medina for a very long time.
I don't think Jewish people gave an account of the Ishmael descendants.
Literally 2 weeks ago, I was watching rabbis discussing this issue because of the Israel and Palestine situation. It's axiomatic. You know, it's axiomatic. It's the same way we know, and obviously we have archaeological findings and other things nowadays. We've known that some of the British people were Anglo-Saxon, yeah. But this is something also that is passed down through. When a historian looks at and stuff, they don't just look at archaeology. They look at tapestry. They look at hymns. They look at stories and things that.
I'm not sure. I don't think he was denying any of that, but he was just asking for any.
He was asking for evidence because he says, like, what says who? That's what his argument was. But other than that, the argument I had with him was that the guy was a Muslim, less than a
Shia Muslim.
Yeah. A month and a half ago, he was a Shia Muslim, and there was something about Islam that attracted him. And before that, he was like atheist or socialist or whatever. So clearly, I don't know, he's told me before that he's on a spectrum, right? I'm not going to say that has negatively infected that. In fact, I say it's positively because he's very intelligent. So he's really at a high speed. You know, I was trying to have a conversation with him rather than a debate, and he was like pushing me into a debate, and then you came in. But my approach with Christianity is very unorthodox in terms of the orthodoxy that exists within the park. I have a very unorthodox approach to Christianity. I was Christian before, so I might have luggage there. However, I look at Christianity sometimes a bit more favorably, and I'm a bit more fair. I try to be as fair as possible and as objective as possible when I look at Christianity. And I don't have this like negative view on Christianity, and like even when it comes to ideas of like the Bible or the books being corrupted. I don't view the Bible, or I don't compare the Bible to the Quran, because I believe the structures and the history, the way it was compiled, are totally different. I believe it's a fallacy when people compare. Usually Muslims compare the Quran to the Bible. Like the Bible is something else. It functions differently. It's compiled differently, and it was compiled. You know, all of these things. So therefore, you can't compare the two. So therefore, I have a different approach when I look at the Bible. You know, I really appreciate talking to you.
Yeah, no problem.
And I do apologize if I was brass at certain points.
No, it's no problem. Me too. I apologize.
Yeah,
nice
sure.
to meet you. Jesus loves you.
Yeah, is that your mic?
Oh no.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah. May Allah guide you. I mean, sorry. Yeah, brothers and sisters. Yeah.
Oh, the Genesis, the verse directly mentions Kedar, son of Ishmael. These are named sons of Ishmael in order. That's what I was trying to say, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, but I told him. But then, you know, the reason why I don't say that, because they say, oh look, you're depending on the Bible. But I said, I said to him, the reference is that this thing, brothers and sisters, look, what I'm trying to teach you guys is this, yeah? When you debate someone, the easiest thing that someone can say to you is bring references, as if this is some killer move. Like, oh, the moment you can't produce any references, it's finished, okay? The way history is compiled, the way we understand history is not merely a thing that is written in the books. This is not how history functions, okay? There's oral tradition, yeah? I'm not necessarily a die-hard adherent to the historical critical method, okay? That's not, I'm sorry, I'm African, okay? That's not how we do history entirely, okay? There's oral traditions, then there's traditions from other people, okay? So outside sources, yeah? And then also axiomatic beliefs, yeah? Now, it is a well-known fact, a very well-known fact, that within the traditions of the Jews, that Ishmael was the brother of Isaac, and that Ishmael had descendants and that there's a prophecy upon the children of Israel that will be blessed and will multiply in the lands. It's quite apparent. But I'm going to have to stop now. Yeah, may Allah bless all of you, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum. Keep donating, keep supporting this cause. I love you very much all. Alaikum salam.
Oh, what's that guy?
Yeah, I have all the stuff, whatever's asked.